I found the other family's Christmas card in my husband's gym bag. Not our Christmas card, the one I'd carefully designed with photos of us and our 2 kids. This was a different card, a different family. My husband Stephen in a Santa sweater I'd never seen, his arm around a blonde woman I didn't know. 2 children at their feet who had his eyes, his smile, his everything. The message inside read, "Merry Christmas from the Hendersons. Stephen, Jennifer, Mason, and little Olivia." The return address was in Phoenix, Arizona, a city Stephen claimed to visit quarterly for business conferences. I'm so glad you're here. If you're watching this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and tell me in the comments where you're listening to my story from. I want to know how far it's traveled. Because what happened when I showed up at their Thanksgiving dinner? The police I brought, the papers I served, and the second wife who had no idea I existed, exposed a lie so elaborate, so carefully constructed, that it had been hiding in plain sight for 7 years. My name is Andrea. I'm 41 years old and I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm a pediatric nurse, a soccer mom, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had a normal marriage. Busy, yes. Stephen traveled a lot for work, yes, but normal, stable, real. I was wrong about all of it. Every single piece of my life was built on a foundation of lies so intricate that when it finally collapsed, I didn't just lose my husband, I lost my entire sense of reality. The Christmas card fell out of his gym bag on a Tuesday morning in September. Stephen had left for his morning workout at 5:30 a.m., and I was making breakfast for our kids, Tyler, who's 14, and Emma, who's 11. Stephen's gym bag was on the bench by our front door, unzipped, revealing a mess of workout clothes that needed washing. I grabbed the bag to take it to the laundry room, and that's when it fell out. A Christmas card. In September. I stood there, frozen, Emma's waffle burning in the toaster, holding this card that made no sense. Why would Stephen have a Christmas card in September? Why were there other children in the photo? Who was Jennifer? My hands trembled as I opened the card again, reading it more carefully. The handwriting was feminine, looping, to our wonderful father and husband. We love you more than words can say. Thank you for everything you do for us. Forever yours, Jennifer, Mason, and Olivia, our wonderful father and husband. The waffle smoke detector went off, piercing and shrill. Emma ran into the kitchen yelling about the smoke. I shoved the card into my pocket, mechanically dealt with the burned waffle, made a new one, got the kids ready for school. Autopilot. My body doing mom things while my brain tried to process what I'd just seen. After I dropped the kids at school, I sat in my car in the parking lot and pulled out the card again. I studied every detail. The photo looked professional, taken at one of those holiday portrait studios. Stephen's Santa sweater was burgundy with white snowflakes, definitely not one from his closet at home. The woman, Jennifer, had her head tilted toward him, comfortable, familiar. The kids looked happy, healthy, loved. The boy, Mason, looked about 10. The girl, Olivia, maybe 6 or 7. I did the math in my head. Stephen and I had been married for 16 years. If this boy was 10, that meant Stephen had started this other family 7 years ago. Well married to me, while we were raising Tyler and Emma, while I was working night shifts at the hospital to help pay our mortgage. I called Stephen. My fingers shook as I pressed his contact. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. Hey, this is Stephen Henderson. Can't get to the phone right now. Leave a message, Henderson. His voicemail said Henderson. Our last name was Morrison. Andrea Morrison. Tyler Morrison. Emma Morrison. But apparently in Phoenix, he was Stephen Henderson. I hung up without leaving a message. My mind was racing, spiraling. How was this possible? How could someone maintain 2 families in 2 different states? The logistics alone seemed impossible, but the evidence was right here in my hand, smiling at me from a glossy Christmas card. I drove home in a daze. I went straight to Stephen's home office, the room he always kept locked, claiming he had sensitive work documents that needed security. I'd never questioned it. Why would I? He was in pharmaceutical sales, traveled constantly, had client confidentiality to maintain. It made sense, or it had made sense, until now. I tried the door. Locked. I went to our bedroom, to Stephen's nightstand where he kept random things. I found a small key on his keychain, one I'd never paid attention to before. I went back to the office. The key fit. The door opened. The office looked normal at first glance. Desk, computer, filing cabinets, bookshelves, but as I started going through drawers, I found a locked file cabinet. I used another key from his keychain. Inside were folders. Lots of folders. Organized, labeled, meticulous. One folder was labeled Phoenix Family. Another was labeled Denver Family. Like we were projects. Client accounts. Manageable, separate entities in his carefully organized life. I opened the Denver Family folder first. It contained copies of our mortgage, our kids' birth certificates, my work schedule from the hospital, school calendars, soccer practice schedules, everything documented, tracked. The Phoenix Family folder was identical in structure, a different mortgage for a different house, birth certificates for Mason and Olivia Henderson, Jennifer's work schedule. She was apparently a real estate agent. School information, soccer schedules, 2 families, 2 complete separate lives, documented and organized like business accounts. I kept searching. I found a burner phone in a desk drawer powered off. I turned it on, my hands shaking so badly I almost dropped it. It took a minute to boot up. When it did, the screen showed hundreds of text messages, all to contacts labeled J and Home 2. I opened the messages to J. They were from Jennifer. Sweet domestic messages. Don't forget Mason has soccer at 4. Can you pick up milk on your way home? Miss you. Come home soon. The kids want to know when Daddy will be back. The messages went back years. 7 years to be exact. The earliest message was from Jennifer saying, "Just found out we're pregnant. I can't wait to tell you in person." Mason. She'd been pregnant with Mason. The Home 2 messages were even worse. They were Stephen's messages to Jennifer, sent from this secret phone. Loving, attentive messages. Can't wait to see you and the kids. Tell Mason I'm proud of his soccer game. Love you, babe. Be home Friday, like Phoenix was his home. Like we, Tyler, Emma, and I were the side family. The secondary account in his filing system. I found bank statements. Stephen had been maintaining 3 separate checking accounts. 1 joint account with me, 1 joint account with Jennifer, and 1 personal account that fed money into both households. He'd been living a triple financial life, carefully balancing everything so neither wife would notice discrepancies. I found 2 car registrations, the Toyota SUV we had in Denver, a Honda minivan registered in Phoenix to Stephen Henderson. I found 2 sets of insurance documents. Health insurance that covered me, Tyler, and Emma through my job at the hospital. Different health insurance that covered Jennifer, Mason, and Olivia through Jennifer's real estate company. I found 2 marriage certificates. That's when I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. Stephen had married Jennifer 5 years ago, while still legally married to me. He'd committed bigamy. He'd stood at an altar in Phoenix. I found photos, hidden in an envelope marked Phoenix Wedding, and promised Jennifer forever, while having a wife and 2 kids in Denver. I sat on the bathroom floor, my back against the cold tile, and I tried to breathe. How was this possible? How had he pulled this off? The coordination alone was staggering. He'd told me he traveled for work, usually 4 to 5 days a week. I'd believed him. I'd been working night shifts, exhausted, raising 2 kids largely on my own. I'd trusted him. In Phoenix, he'd apparently told Jennifer that he also traveled for work, coming home for extended weekends and holidays. She'd believed him too. We'd both believed him. I called my best friend Lisa. She answered on the second ring. "Hey, what's up?" "Lisa." My voice came out strangled. "Can you come over? Right now? I need help." She heard something in my voice. "I'm on my way." While I waited for Lisa, I kept searching. I found Stephen's work laptop and managed to guess his password. Mason 2013, the year his secret son was born. The laptop revealed even more. Email accounts I'd never known existed. Calendar appointments meticulously color-coded. Blue for Denver family time. Green for Phoenix family time. Red for actual work. His calendar showed he'd be in Phoenix for Thanksgiving. All of Thanksgiving week. He'd told me 2 days ago that he had a major conference in San Francisco and would miss our Thanksgiving. I'd been disappointed but understanding. He missed holidays sometimes. Work was demanding. I'd planned to do Thanksgiving with just the kids, maybe invite my parents. But according to his calendar, he'd be in Phoenix. At 847 Mesquite Drive. with the Henderson family. Lisa arrived 20 minutes later and found me still sitting in Stephen's office, surrounded by evidence of his double life. I handed her the Christmas card without saying anything. She looked at it, looked at me, looked back at the card. "Andrea, what is this?" "My husband has another family," I said flatly. "Another wife, 2 more kids, a whole other life in Phoenix, for 7 years. Lisa sank into the desk chair. I showed her everything. The folders, the bank statements, the marriage certificate, the burner phone messages. We sat there for over an hour, going through it all. Lisa's face growing paler with each new revelation. "This is insane," she kept saying. "This is absolutely insane. I know. What are you going to do?" I thought about that question. What was I going to do? Confront Stephen when he got home from his workout? Call Jennifer and tell her the truth? Call the police? Fall apart? "I'm going to Phoenix," I heard myself say. "For Thanksgiving. I'm going to their Thanksgiving dinner." Lisa stared at me. "Andrea, he thinks he can have 2 families? 2 wives? 2 complete separate lives?" My voice was getting stronger now, anger burning through the shock. "Fine, let's bring those lives together. Let's see how he handles both families in the same room. That's crazy. He's been living a double life for 7 years, Lisa. He married another woman while married to me. He has 4 children who don't know about each other. I'm past caring about crazy." Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, what do you need me to do?" What I needed was help. Professional help, legal help, and a very detailed plan. I called a lawyer that afternoon. Her name was Margaret Steele, a divorce attorney who'd been recommended by a colleague at the hospital who'd gone through a rough divorce. I explained the situation, the double life, the bigamy, the 2 families. Margaret listened without interrupting, then said calmly, "Come to my office. Bring everything you found. We need to move quickly on this." I spent 3 hours in Margaret's office that afternoon, laying out the entire situation. She reviewed every document, every photo, every piece of evidence. Her face remained professionally neutral, but I saw her jaw tighten when I showed her the marriage certificate. "This is bigamy," she said. "That's a felony in both Colorado and Arizona. You could press criminal charges." "I want to," I said. "But first I want to go to Phoenix. I want to expose him in front of both families at once." Margaret studied me. "That's risky. He could deny everything, claim you're lying, turn his other family against you. Let him try. I have evidence. Photos, documents, bank statements, text messages. I have proof." "You'll need the police," Margaret said. "If you're going to confront him with criminal activity, you should have law enforcement present, both for legal documentation and for your safety. We don't know how he'll react when cornered." "Can you arrange that?" "I have contacts in Arizona. Let me make some calls." Over the next week, Margaret and I built a plan. She contacted the Phoenix Police Department and explained the situation to a detective named Sarah Martinez, who specialized in fraud and identity crimes. Detective Martinez was interested. Bigamy cases were rare but serious. She agreed to be present for the Thanksgiving confrontation, along with backup officers. Margaret also filed divorce papers in Colorado, citing fraud, bigamy, and abandonment. The papers were ready to be served. In Arizona, she worked with a local attorney to prepare documentation for Jennifer. She'd need to know her marriage wasn't legally valid since Stephen was already married to me. Hired a private investigator named Tom Chen to verify everything and to get current photos of the Phoenix house and family. Tom spent 3 days in Phoenix, documenting Stephen's other life. He came back with photos of Stephen dropping Mason off at soccer practice, of Stephen and Jennifer grocery shopping together, of the whole family at a park. Normal family activities, a normal family life, just like the one he had with me in Denver. "He's living completely separate lives," Tom said, showing me the surveillance photos. Different clothes, different car, different mannerisms even. In Phoenix, he's more relaxed, more hands-on with the kids. In Denver, based on what you've told me, he's more distant, always tired from work. That detail hurt more than I expected. He was a better father to them than to Tyler and Emma. He'd chosen to be more present in Phoenix, while in Denver we got his exhausted leftovers. I didn't tell Tyler and Emma what was happening. Not yet. They thought their dad was traveling for work, same as always. I didn't want to destroy their world until I had all the facts, until everything was ready. Stephen came home that Friday evening, cheerful and relaxed. "How was your workout?" I asked, keeping my voice normal. "Great. Really great. Hey, did you burn something earlier?" The smoke detector went off according to my phone app. "Emma's waffle got a little too dark," I said, the lie coming easily. I'd been practicing lies all week, matching his energy. "What's your schedule look like next week?" "Busy, unfortunately. That San Francisco conference is Tuesday through Sunday. I'll miss Thanksgiving." He looked genuinely regretful. Such a good actor. "I'm really sorry, babe." "It's okay," I said. "Work is work. The kids and I will manage." He kissed my forehead. "You're the best. I don't deserve you." Finally, something true. The week before Thanksgiving, I made my arrangements. I told the hospital I needed the week off for a family emergency. I asked Lisa to check on our house in Denver while I was gone. I sat Tyler and Emma down and told them we were going on a surprise trip for Thanksgiving. "Where?" Emma asked, excited. "It's a surprise," I said. "But pack warm clothes and your tablets for the flight." "Flight?" Tyler's eyes narrowed. He was 14, old enough to sense when something was off. "Mom, what's going on?" "We're going to see your father," I said carefully. "He's been working very hard and I thought it would be nice to surprise him." "Dad said he'd be in San Francisco," Tyler said. "Change of plans," I lied. "He's actually in Phoenix. I thought we'd celebrate Thanksgiving together as a family." Tyler didn't look convinced, but he didn't push it. Emma was just excited about flying on a plane. We flew to Phoenix on Tuesday afternoon, 2 days before Thanksgiving. I rented a car and drove to a hotel near Steven's other house. Not too close. I didn't want to risk him spotting us, but close enough to reach quickly. Wednesday, I met with Detective Martinez and Margaret's Arizona colleague, an attorney named Robert Diaz. We reviewed the plan for Thursday. I would arrive at the Phoenix house at 2 p.m., right when Thanksgiving dinner would be in full swing according to Steven's detailed calendar. Detective Martinez and 2 uniformed officers would arrive at 2:15 p.m. to serve the divorce papers and discuss the bigamy charges. "Are you sure you want your kids there for this?" Detective Martinez asked gently. "It's going to be traumatic." "They need to see the truth," I said. "They need to understand why their family is falling apart. And honestly, I need them with me. I need the support." Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day, I woke up at 6 a.m. with my stomach in knots. Tyler and Emma were still sleeping. I sat on the hotel bed holding the folder of evidence and I let myself feel it all. The betrayal, the rage, the grief for the life I thought I had. Then I got dressed, woke up the kids, and told them today was the day we'd see their father. "Why are we surprising Dad at his work conference?" Emma asked over breakfast. "It's not a work conference," I said. I couldn't keep lying to them. "There's something your father hasn't been honest about, and you're going to see it today. I need you both to trust me and stay calm, okay?" Tyler's face went pale. "Mom, what's happening?" "You'll see soon," I said. I love you both. Remember that, no matter what happens today. I love you." At 1:45 p.m., I parked our rental car across the street from 847 Mesquite Drive. It was a nice house, bigger than ours in Denver. 2 stories, desert landscaping, a basketball hoop in the driveway. I could see through the front window, people moving around inside. I recognized Steven's silhouette. "That's Dad's conference location?" Tyler asked, confused. "That's just a house." "I know, honey." Emma pressed her face against the window. "Whose house is it?" "You're about to find out." At exactly 2 p.m., I got out of the car. Tyler and Emma followed me. We walked up the driveway, past Steven's Honda minivan, the one he didn't own in Denver, and I rang the doorbell. Footsteps inside. The door opened. A blonde woman stood there, wearing an apron that said, "Thankful." She had a warm smile that faded to confusion when she saw us. "Hi, can I help you?" "Is Stephen Henderson here?" I asked calmly. "Stephen?" "Yes, he's—" "Who are you?" "I'm Andrea Morrison," I said. "Stephen's wife." Jennifer's face went blank. "I'm sorry, what?" Behind her, I heard Stephen's voice. "Jen, who's at the door?" Then Stephen appeared behind Jennifer and our eyes met. I watched his face go through every emotion, confusion, recognition, shock, panic, and finally, a terrible resignation. He knew it was over. "Andrea," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "What are you doing here?" "Hi, honey," I said, my voice steady. Surprise, thought we'd join you for Thanksgiving after all. 2 children appeared behind Stephen, Mason and Olivia, looking exactly like their Christmas card photo. They stared at Tyler and Emma with confusion. Stephen, who is this? Jennifer's voice was rising, panicked. Tell her, I said. Tell her who I am. Stephen's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out, so I told her myself. I'm Stephen's wife. We've been married for 16 years. These are our children. Tyler and Emma. We live in Denver, Colorado, where Stephen supposedly travels for work 4 days a week. I pulled out my phone and showed her our wedding photo, the one from our actual legal wedding. He and I got married in 2007. Jennifer looked at the photo, looked at Stephen. That's not possible. Stephen and I got married in 2019. She stopped, realization dawning. Oh my God. Your marriage isn't legal, I said, keeping my voice gentle because despite everything, this woman was a victim too. He was already married to me when he married you. That's called bigamy. It's a felony. Jennifer's legs seemed to give out. She grabbed the doorframe for support. No, that's not. Stephen, tell her she's wrong. Tell her this is some mistake. Stephen said nothing. His face had gone gray. Mason, the 10-year-old, spoke up. Dad, who are they? Tyler answered before I could. His voice was cold, harder than I'd ever heard it. We're his other family, apparently. The tableau we made must have been absurd. 2 families, 2 sets of children, all standing in the doorway, staring at each other while Thanksgiving dinner went cold inside. That's when Detective Martinez arrived with 2 uniformed officers. Stephen Morrison? Detective Martinez asked, stepping up behind us. Stephen's eyes widened. What? Also known as Stephen Henderson? She continued. I'm Detective Sarah Martinez with the Phoenix Police Department. We need to speak with you about allegations of bigamy and fraud. Jennifer started crying. Mason and Olivia looked terrified. Emma grabbed my hand, squeezing so hard it hurt. Detective Martinez turned to Jennifer. Ma'am, are you Jennifer Henderson? Yes, Jennifer managed to say. I have documentation here showing that your marriage to Stephen Morrison, aka Stephen Henderson, is not legally valid as he was already married at the time of your ceremony. She handed Jennifer an envelope. These documents explain your legal options. I handed Stephen an envelope. Divorce papers. I'm filing on grounds of fraud, bigamy, and abandonment. You'll be served officially once you're processed by the police. Stephen took the envelope with shaking hands. Andrea, please. Let me explain. Explain? I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Explain what, Stephen? How you've been living a double life for 7 years. How you married another woman while married to me. How you have 4 children who didn't know each other existed. Please explain. I'd love to hear this. He couldn't. He had no explanation that would make any of this okay. One of the uniformed officers stepped forward. Sir, we need you to come with us to answer some questions about the bigamy allegations. Am I being arrested? Stephen's voice cracked. Not at this time, Detective Martinez said. But we do need your cooperation in our investigation. Jennifer had sunk to the floor, still crying. Mason and Olivia clung to her. Inside the house, I could see an older couple, probably Jennifer's parents, watching in horror. The Thanksgiving turkey sat on the dining room table, beautifully carved, surrounded by all the traditional sides. A perfect family holiday, destroyed. I knelt down to Jennifer's level. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. I'm sorry he did this to you. To your kids. You didn't deserve this. She looked at me through her tears. Did you know? About us? I found out 3 weeks ago. I've been gathering evidence since then. Why didn't you just call me? Why show up like this? Because he deserved to face both of us at the same time, I said. He deserved to have his carefully separated worlds collide. And honestly, I wasn't sure you'd believe me over the phone. I needed you to see me, see my kids, see the evidence in person. Jennifer nodded slowly, understanding. Stephen was being led to a police car, not in handcuffs, but definitely not free to leave. He kept looking back at both families, his face a mask of devastation. Good. Detective Martinez approached me. Mrs. Morrison, we'll need formal statements from both you and Mrs. Henderson. Can you come to the station tomorrow? Yes, I said. We're staying at the Marriott on Camelback. We'll be in touch. The police left with Stephen. Jennifer was still on the floor, her parents now with her, trying to comfort her while also clearly in shock. Mason and Olivia were crying. Tyler and Emma stood close to me, looking shell-shocked. I should have left then. I'd done what I came to do, but something made me stay. Jennifer, I said quietly, can we talk? Just for a few minutes? She looked up at me, her face blotchy and red. Why? What else is there to say? A lot, actually. About him, about what we both need to know. Jennifer's mother, a stern-looking woman in her 60s, said, Jennifer, you don't have to talk to her. No, it's okay, Mom. Jennifer stood up shakily. Let's talk. We sat at the Thanksgiving table, this bizarre scene of two wives who'd been sharing a husband without knowing it. Jennifer's parents took the kids, all 4 of them, into another room. Tyler protested, but I told him I needed to do this alone. How long have you known? Jennifer asked. 3 weeks. I found a Christmas card from your family in his gym bag. The Christmas card, she said bitterly. I sent that to his work address in Denver last December. I thought he worked there. He told me he traveled for pharmaceutical sales, I said. He told me he worked in medical device marketing, Jennifer said. That he had to travel to Denver frequently for a major client. We both laughed, horrible broken laughs at the symmetry of his lies. Did he tell you he couldn't have more kids? Jennifer asked suddenly. After Olivia was born, he told me he'd gotten a vasectomy. Said 2 kids were enough. My stomach dropped. Emma was born 7 years ago, the same year as Mason. He was having children with both of us at the same time. Jennifer put her head in her hands. How did he do this? How did he keep track of everything? I told her about the filing system, the color-coded calendar, the separate bank accounts, the burner phone. As I talked, I could see her face shifting from shock to recognition. She was remembering things that hadn't made sense before, red flags she'd ignored. He never wanted to video chat, she said. Always said his camera was broken or the connection was bad. I thought it was weird, but you trusted him, I finished. So did I. Did he love you? Jennifer asked, and her voice broke on the question. Or was it all an act? I don't know, I said honestly. I thought he did. For 16 years, I thought he loved me. But how can someone who loves you live a completely separate life? Jennifer nodded, tears streaming down her face. He seemed so perfect. Attentive, loving, present when he was here. He'd come home every weekend, spend time with the kids, take us on dates. It felt real. It felt real to me too, I said. That's what makes it so awful. We both loved a man who didn't really exist. We sat in silence for a moment, 2 women processing the destruction of their lives. What happens now? Jennifer asked. Now we divorce him. You'll need a lawyer. Your marriage isn't legal, but you'll need to sort out custody and child support for Mason and Olivia. I'm filing for divorce in Colorado. He'll face bigamy charges in both states, probably. And we figure out how to explain this to our children. God, the kids. Jennifer looked toward the room where all 4 children were with her parents. How do I tell them their father is a liar? That their whole life has been a lie? I don't know, I admitted. I'm still figuring that out myself. Jennifer's father appeared in the doorway. Jennifer, maybe these folks should go. This is a lot for one day. He was right. It was time to leave. I stood up. I really am sorry, I told Jennifer. I know this isn't your fault. You're as much a victim as I am. I keep thinking I should hate you, Jennifer said. But I don't. I actually feel, I don't know, like we're in this together somehow. We are, I said. We're both wives to the same liar. I collected Tyler and Emma, both quiet, processing, probably traumatized, and we left. As we drove back to the hotel, Emma finally spoke. Dad has another family? Yes, baby, he does. For how long? 7 years. Since before you were born. Tyler's voice came from the back seat, hard and angry. Is he going to jail? Maybe, I said. What he did is illegal. But I don't know yet what will happen. Good, Tyler said. He should go to jail. He's a liar. Emma started crying then, and I pulled over, got in the back seat, and held both of my children while they cried for the father they'd thought they knew, and the family they'd thought they had. The next few days were a blur. I gave my statement to Detective Martinez, showing her all the evidence I'd compiled, Jennifer gave her statement too. The investigation moved quickly. Bigamy is rare but straightforward when there's clear documentation. Stephen was formally arrested on Monday. The charges: bigamy in 2 states, fraud, identity theft. He'd used a false identity to marry Jennifer, and misuse of funds. He'd been using money from both households to support the other. The bail was set high. He couldn't make it. Jennifer and I stayed in touch, coordinating through our lawyers. She filed for custody and child support for Mason and Olivia, even though their marriage wasn't valid. Stephen would still have to support his biological children. I filed for full custody of Tyler and Emma, citing his complete betrayal of trust and his impending criminal conviction. Tyler and Emma met Mason and Olivia properly at a supervised meeting arranged by our lawyers. It was awkward. How do you connect with siblings you didn't know existed? But there was also something tentatively hopeful about it. The kids were all victims of Stephen's lies. They hadn't asked for any of this. The legal proceedings took months. Stephen pleaded guilty to bigamy charges in both Colorado and Arizona as part of a plea deal. He got 3 years in prison, eligible for parole after 18 months. The divorce was granted quickly. Hard to defend your marriage when you're also married to someone else. The financial situation was complicated. Stephen had been splitting his income between both households, which meant both families had been living on less than they should have been. Between child support for 4 children, restitution to both wives, and legal fees, Stephen lost almost everything. The Phoenix house had to be sold. Jennifer and the kids moved in with her parents temporarily. I kept our Denver house. It had been in my name anyway, purchased before the marriage. I got primary custody of Tyler and Emma, with Stephen getting supervised visitation once he was out of prison. If he ever got out, if he ever wanted to face his kids after what he'd done. The story went viral, of course. Man maintains double life with 2 families for 7 years made national news. I gave one interview to a local Denver news station, mainly to set the record straight and to warn other people that this kind of deception was possible. How do you trust anyone after something like this? The reporter asked me. I don't know yet, I said honestly. I'm still figuring that out. Tyler struggled the most with everything. He was angry, withdrawn, refusing to talk about his father. We started family therapy, him, Emma, and me, trying to process the trauma and rebuild our sense of family. It helped, slowly. Emma was younger, more resilient in some ways. She asked questions constantly. Did Dad ever really love us? Are we still a real family? Will Mason and Olivia be our brother and sister forever? I answered as honestly as I could. I think he loved you in his own way, but he was selfish and made terrible choices. Yes, we're absolutely a real family, just us 3. That's up to you kids to decide. But they're your half-siblings no matter what. Jennifer and I developed a strange friendship born of shared trauma. We'd text sometimes, comparing notes on lawyer meetings or commiserating about Stephen's pathetic attempts to justify his actions from prison. Our kids had playdates occasionally, getting to know each other, building relationships that had nothing to do with Stephen. Did you ever imagine this is where we'd be? Jennifer asked me one day over coffee, 6 months after everything exploded. Co-parenting our kids with each other instead of with him? Never in a million years, I said. But honestly, you're better co-parent than he ever was. She laughed. That's an incredibly low bar. True. I went back to work at the hospital, grateful for the routine and the distraction. My colleagues were supportive, offering babysitting help and casseroles and the kind of practical care that gets you through a crisis. I threw myself into work, picking up extra shifts, losing myself in the concrete problems of sick children instead of the messy emotional aftermath of my destroyed marriage. I started running. I'd never been a runner before, but I needed something to do with all the rage and grief that still surfaced at random moments. I'd run through our neighborhood at dawn, my breath creating clouds in the cold Denver air, my feet pounding out the rhythm of my anger. It helped. Slowly, painfully, life became normal again. A new normal, one without Stephen, but normal nonetheless. Tyler joined the debate team at school and started smiling again sometimes. Emma made the soccer team and brought home stories of friends and practice. We had dinners together, just the 3 of us, and it felt okay. Not broken, different, but okay. About a year after everything fell apart, Stephen got out on parole. He'd served 18 months, model prisoner, full of remorse according to his parole officer. He wanted to see the kids. Tyler refused outright. "I don't have a father," he said coldly. "Not anymore." Emma was torn but ultimately decided she wanted to see him, just once to see if she felt anything other than anger. The visit was supervised, at a neutral location, with a family therapist present. I waited in the parking lot while Emma went in. She came out 30 minutes later, her face unreadable. "How was it?" I asked carefully. "Weird," she said. "He cried a lot. Said he was sorry. I don't know if I believe him. That's okay. You don't have to decide right now how you feel." "Can we get ice cream?" she asked. "Absolutely." Life moved forward. It had to. I dated a little, cautiously after 2 years. A physical therapist from the hospital named Marcus, who was kind and patient, and understood when I had moments of panic about trust. We took things slow. Coffee dates, movies, family dinners where Tyler grilled him about his intentions. It didn't last ultimately. I wasn't ready, and that was okay. But it reminded me that I could be interested in someone again, that Stephen hadn't completely destroyed that part of me. Jennifer started dating too. She sent me a photo once of her with a nice-looking man at a restaurant, with the caption, "First date in 8 years. Terrified but doing it." I sent back, "You've got this. You survived Stephen. You can survive anything." Mason and Olivia adjusted better than anyone expected. Kids are resilient, people kept telling me, and it seemed to be true. They stayed connected with Tyler and Emma through video calls and occasional visits. The 4 of them had formed their own little club, kids with the same deadbeat dad, united by shared trauma and blood. One Saturday afternoon, about 3 years after Thanksgiving Day 2022, all 4 kids were at my house. They were in the living room playing video games, arguing good-naturedly about strategy. I watched them from the kitchen where I was making snacks, and something in my chest loosened. Stephen had tried to keep us all separate, to maintain his carefully partitioned life. But in exposing him, I'd accidentally created something he never intended, a blended family that actually worked. Not in any traditional sense, but it worked. The kids knew each other. Jennifer and I supported each other. We'd built something real from the wreckage of his lies. "Mom," Emma called. "Can Mason and Olivia stay for dinner?" I texted Jennifer. "Kids want dinner together. That work for you?" She replied, "Perfect. I'll pick them up around 8. Thank you." I made pasta. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and garlic bread. And we all ate together at my dining room table. 5 of us. The conversation was chaotic. The kids talking over each other, laughing at inside jokes I didn't understand. Normal family dinner chaos. After Jennifer picked up Mason and Olivia, Tyler helped me clean up. He was 17 now, getting ready to apply to colleges, transformed from the angry 14-year-old who'd watched his world explode on that Thanksgiving day. "You okay, Mom?" he asked, loading the dishwasher. "Yeah," I said. "I really am." "Are you?" He considered the question. I used to be so angry. At Dad, at the situation, at everything. But now I just feel, I don't know, like it doesn't matter anymore. Like he's just some guy who used to live here, not really my dad. "That's healthy," I said. "Anger is exhausting to carry forever." "Do you still hate him?" I thought about that. No, hate requires caring, and I don't care about him anymore. He's just someone who hurt me once, a long time ago. He doesn't get space in my head anymore. Tyler nodded. "Good. You deserve better than that." "So do you, kiddo." "I know." He finished loading the dishwasher and turned to face me. "I'm glad you exposed him that day. I know it was crazy and dramatic, but I'm glad you did it. We deserve to know the truth, even though it hurt. Especially because it hurt. Better to hurt from the truth than live a lie." Wise words from a 17-year-old. Stephen's betrayal had aged my son, made him more cynical than he should be at his age. But it had also made him stronger. More discerning. Less willing to accept things at face value. Emma, now 14, was different. She'd maintained contact with Stephen, seeing him every few months, though the visits always left her quiet and thoughtful. She'd never fully trusted him again. How could she? But she hadn't completely cut him off either. "Do you think Dad ever loved any of us?" she asked me once, late at night when she couldn't sleep and wandered into my room. "I think he loved the idea of us," I said carefully. I think he loved having families, being the center of attention, being needed. But real love doesn't lie. Real love doesn't divide its time and resources between secret lives. So no, I don't think he loved us the way we deserve to be loved. That's sad, she said. It is, but it's also not our fault. He made his choices. I know. I just wish... She trailed off. Wish what, baby? I wish we'd been enough for him. Just us, I pulled her close. We were always enough, Emma. The problem wasn't us. It was never us. It was him. He was broken in a way we couldn't fix. The legal aftermath took years to fully resolve. Stephen's parole required him to make restitution payments to both families, pay child support, and attend mandatory counseling. He complied, minimally, sending checks that barely covered expenses and showing up to therapy because he had to, not because he wanted to change. He tried to tell his side of the story once, granting an interview to some podcast about complicated family dynamics. He painted himself as a man who'd gotten in over his head, who'd made mistakes but really loved all his children, who was trying to make amends. Tyler texted me the link with the comment, "This is garbage." I listened to it once, heard Stephen's carefully crafted narrative where he was more victim than villain, and I deleted it. He could rewrite history all he wanted. Those of us who'd lived through it knew the truth. Jennifer called me after she'd listened. Can you believe him? Complicated family dynamics? He committed crimes, multiple felonies, but sure, let's call it complicated. He's never going to take real responsibility, I said. That would require him to see himself clearly, and I don't think he's capable of that. Probably not. Hey, wanna grab lunch next week? I need to vent about my ex to someone who really gets it. I laughed. Our ex. And yes, absolutely. We had lunch at a little Mexican place in between Denver and Phoenix. We'd meet halfway sometimes when the kids wanted to see each other. Over margaritas and enchiladas, Jennifer and I would compare notes on co-parenting, dating, rebuilding our lives. You know what's weird? Jennifer said during one of these lunches. I'm happier now than I was when I thought I was married to Stephen. Even with all the trauma and the single parenting and the financial stress, I'm happier. Me too, I admitted. I think because this life is real. It's hard, but it's honest. I know exactly where I stand. No more waiting for him to come home. No more wondering why he seemed distant. No more lies. To honest lives, Jennifer raised her margarita glass. To honest lives, I echoed, clinking my glass against hers. 4 years after that Thanksgiving confrontation, Tyler graduated high school. He'd been accepted to several good colleges and chose one in California, far from both Denver and Phoenix, making his own fresh start. At his graduation party, all the kids were there. Tyler, Emma, Mason, and Olivia. My parents were there, proud grandparents who'd stood by me through everything. Jennifer came with her new boyfriend, a nice guy who owned a coffee shop and treated her like she mattered. Lisa, my best friend who'd been with me since day one, brought her family. Stephen was not invited. Tyler had been clear about that. He doesn't get to celebrate this, Tyler had said. He didn't earn it. During the party, I found a quiet moment to watch everyone. My son about to start college, my daughter thriving in high school, my strange extended family, connected by tragedy but building something better, my friends, my support system, my life. Lisa came to stand beside me. You did it, she said quietly. Did what? Survived. More than survived. You built something good from something terrible. We built it, I corrected. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Remember when you called me that day? When you found everything, you sounded so broken. I was broken. But you're not anymore. I thought about that. Was I still broken? Parts of me, maybe. I still had trust issues. I still had moments of rage at what Stephen had stolen from me. Time, security, faith in people. But broken? No. I'd been shattered and I'd reassembled myself. Maybe not in the same shape as before, but whole nonetheless. No, I agreed. I'm not broken anymore. The party wound down. Kids left for other graduation celebrations. My parents hugged me goodbye. My mother whispering, "We're so proud of you," for the 1,000th time. Jennifer and her boyfriend left, promising to visit soon with Mason and Olivia. Finally, it was just me, Tyler, and Emma in our living room, surrounded by empty plates and graduation decorations. "Big day," I said to Tyler. "Huge," he agreed. "Thanks for this, Mom. For everything." "You don't have to thank me for being your mom." "I know, but I'm going to anyway." He looked at me seriously, suddenly seeming much older than 18. "What you did that Thanksgiving, confronting Dad, exposing everything, it was the bravest thing I've ever seen. You could have just quietly divorced him, let him keep his secrets, but you didn't. You made him face what he'd done. You made sure we all knew the truth." "It was the hardest thing I've ever done," I admitted. "But it was the right thing," Emma added. She'd been quiet most of the evening, but now she spoke up. "I'm glad you did it, Mom, even though it hurt. Even though it was scary. I'm glad we know." "Me too," I said, and I meant it. That night, after the kids were in bed, I sat on my back porch with a glass of wine, looking up at the Denver sky. I thought about that woman 4 years ago, standing in her kitchen, holding a Christmas card that would destroy her world. I thought about the fear, the anger, the meticulous planning, the confrontation. I thought about walking into that Phoenix house with my children, facing my husband's other family, watching his carefully constructed double life collapse. It had been terrifying, devastating, the hardest thing I'd ever done, but it had also been necessary. Stephen had stolen years from me, from Jennifer, from all our children. He'd built his happiness on lies, maintained his perfect families through deception. Someone had to stop him. Someone had to force the truth into the light. I'd chosen to be that someone. People asked me sometimes if I regretted the dramatic confrontation. If I should have handled it more privately, more quietly. My answer was always the same: no, absolutely not. Stephen's lies had been public. He'd presented himself to 2 different communities, 2 different families, as a devoted husband and father. His exposure needed to be equally public. He needed to face both families at once, needed to see the destruction he'd caused reflected in all our faces simultaneously. And Jennifer and I had needed to meet. We'd needed to see that we were both real, both valid, both victims of the same man. If I'd just called her or sent an email, she might not have believed me. But standing in her doorway with my children, holding evidence, bringing police, there was no denying it then. The truth had needed witnesses. It had needed to be undeniable, unspinnable, impossible to minimize or explain away. So yes, I'd brought my children to see their father exposed as a bigamist on Thanksgiving Day. Yes, I'd coordinated with police to ensure he'd face criminal charges. Yes, I'd served both him and his other wife with legal documents in front of both families, destroying any chance he had of controlling the narrative, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Because the alternative, staying quiet, letting him continue his double life, raising my children in a web of lies, was unthinkable. They deserved better. I deserved better. Even Jennifer deserved better. My phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. "Mason keeps talking about Tyler's graduation party. Thank you for including them. It meant the world." I texted back. "Their family. Weird, unconventional family, but family nonetheless. The best kind," she replied. "The kind you choose." I smiled at that. She was right. Stephen had tried to keep us all in separate boxes, but we'd broken out and chosen each other. The kids had chosen to be siblings. Jennifer and I had chosen to be allies. Friends, even. We'd taken the wreckage of Stephen's lies and built something real. That was our revenge, really. Not the police or the legal charges or the public humiliation, though those had been satisfying. The real revenge was that we'd survived him. We'd thrived despite him. We'd created genuine relationships from his false ones. Stephen was alone now, I'd heard. Living in a small apartment, working a job that barely covered his restitution payments, seeing his children rarely, if at all. His parents had cut him off, ashamed of what he'd done. He had no partner, no family life, no one who trusted him. He'd tried to have everything and lost it all. Meanwhile, I had my children, my career, my friends, my strange blended family with Jennifer and her kids. I had Sunday dinners and graduation parties and video calls with Mason and Olivia. I had honesty and trust and relationships built on truth. I had chosen light over darkness, truth over comfortable lies. And I'd won. As I sat on my porch that night, finishing my wine, I thought about the woman I'd been 4 years ago. The woman who'd trusted blindly, who'd accepted Stephen's absences and excuses, who'd never questioned the narrative he fed her. That woman was gone. In her place was someone stronger, wiser, more careful but not closed off. Someone who'd been betrayed and had fought back. Someone who'd lost everything and rebuilt it better. I wouldn't go back to being that trusting woman for anything in the world. The sky darkened. Stars appeared, bright against the Colorado night. I thought about Thanksgiving this year, just a few weeks away. It would be Tyler's first Thanksgiving away at college. Emma, Jennifer, Mason, Olivia, and I were planning to celebrate together, our chosen family gathered around a table. No Stephen. No lies, just people who'd survived him. Connected now by something stronger than his deception. Truth, forgiveness, and the choice to move forward together. That's what I'd really accomplished that Thanksgiving Day 4 years ago when I walked into Stephen's other family's home with divorce papers and police. I'd destroyed his lies and in doing so, set all of us free. Free to heal. Free to rebuild. Free to create something honest and real from the ashes of his betrayal. And we had. God, we had. I raised my wine glass to the sky, a silent toast to that brave, terrified woman who'd gotten on a plane with her kids and confronted her worst nightmare. To the woman who'd refused to be quiet, to play along, to let the lies continue. To the woman who'd chosen the hardest path because it was the right one. To survival, to truth, to freedom. Did you like my story? Which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.